to speak on anxiety. I want to speak on a couple of things here. This is really going to help a lot of guys, and these are questions that I get at Phyllis events from clients on my social media. They're kind of ongoing questions that I've been getting for years, and these are the type of challenges that I help clients on my coaching programs. A lot of guys will first always talk about what they're struggling with, you know, self-esteem, confidence, social confidence, discipline, getting over certain limiting beliefs or things that have happened to them in the past, or other people putting them down, or a fear of what other people, mostly a fear of what other people think, like a feeling of not being good enough. Now, I need to explain this. You know, you have to understand that in order to improve your anxiety and your confidence and get past certain issues that you're dealing with, you have to really work it. You've got to put a lot of work in. I think this is one of the areas where a lot of guys neglect. They're expecting things to happen too quickly. You're not patient. And most things, especially building confidence, if you've got a mentor like myself, you can build a lot of confidence in about 6 weeks, or even a couple of weeks of continuous practice. But when you're on your own, when you don't have a mentor and you're trying to do it on your own, it's going to take a long time, because there's going to be things that you're not going to know. You're going to have your fears, your anxieties, and even when you work with a coach. So you have to get out of the mindset of the quick fix mentality, which is human nature, and it's almost generational today. Like with anything in life, with the gym, let's just stick on anxiety. You know, people always ask me about my journey. The reason why I was successful, because I worked so hard. That's the only reason. You know, you can say, oh, talent, personality, they play a part, but without the hard work, I never would have got to where I got to. I wouldn't be here now teaching you, helping you. I wouldn't have taught hundreds of people around the world and built a successful brand and done events and public speaking and made money and started my own business and, you know, overcome my anxieties with getting a girlfriend, so many other things, and learning to speak in front of the camera, teach, face my fears, help, all these things. I put hours and hours of practice in. But I think, like I've said before, you've got to fully commit to it. You're not going to enjoy something if you don't fully commit to it. So if you really, really want to improve your anxiety and it's making your life a misery, it's got to be a full-time job. You can't have a part-time job mentality. You can't just think, well, I'll work on my social skills once every weekend or once a month. It's not enough, especially at the earlier stages. You've got to put a hell of a lot in to get even a little bit back. So it's almost like you've got to put 3 times the amount of effort to get a little bit back. But if you put 10 times the amount of effort, then you're going to get 3 times back, and so forth. Eventually it pays off. And that's how I got to a position that I got to. And I still work even harder than I did before. So you cannot neglect discipline. You can't be naive and think that you're just going to watch a couple of videos, you're going to come to one seminar, or you might just book one coaching call and then you're going to change. It doesn't work like that for anyone. Look at any successful person, just listen for a few minutes and they'll tell you, I had to work hard to get to where I got to. It took years. But you can't let that put you off and demotivate. You've got to get inspired and excited by that. So I wanted to educate you today on a matter that I'm passionate about. I hate seeing guys quit, especially guys that I care about. I really like them. They're good people and they're suffering with anxiety, because you're going to be tempted to quit on a daily basis. That's the challenge. So you can only do one day at a time. So you got to give it the best you can, and you can't be scared of what people think, because you'll never do anything. You've got to make mistakes. It's better to try and make a mistake, learn from it, grow from it, be better next time, rather than someone who's so insecure, so emotionally attached to other people's opinions, that doesn't do anything because of the fear of failure, fear of judgment. So you've got to face the fear of judgment when you're talking about getting over your anxiety and building your confidence. You've got to face it, and the more you face it, the less you care, and the better you feel about yourself. And the more you value what you think about yourself as opposed to what other people are thinking. Because you can't control what other people are thinking, but you can control what you think, how you feel about yourself. But you're not going to, like I said before, you can't buy confidence on Amazon or Tesco's. You're not going to get confidence from reading books. You're not going to get it just from affirmations. Confidence comes from a continuation of habits, of good habits, of discipline, of practice. It comes from socializing regularly. It comes from going to the gym regularly, exercising. It comes from having personal goals in your life that are meaningful to you, fulfilling those goals. It comes from, good integrity, not breaking promises, and truthfulness. It comes from not lying. Obviously, no one's perfect. Everybody's like told little lies. But if you keep lying to yourself and other people, your anxiety is not going to improve. So you've got to practice honesty. You've got to practice being accountable. And these are things that if you want to see results, you've got to put time in. And if you really want something, you wouldn't care how long it's going to take. But when you start getting into the negative thinking that, if it's not going to come next week, then I'm not going to do it, then you're never going to change then. Then you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. And you don't want that. I don't want that. So you have to understand that anxiety is a serious problem to begin with. But if you face it, it's a blessing in disguise. So the more you avoid anxiety and you put it off, the worse it grows, the worse it gets. The more you face it, the better it gets. Every time you face a fear, your confidence goes up. Every time you avoid a fear, your confidence drops down. Every time you confront a fear and an anxiety, your courage increases, your courage muscles get worked. Every time you back out of a fear, your courage drops. So that's the science of it. That's on a practical level. This is factual. But it's having that mindset, and these things take time. You can't sit there and be in a terrible place and then just watch a video and have a great mindset. A great mind has to be developed. Same as cheesy, but same as a plant. You can't just go put a little bit of water and say, why isn't the plant growing? You've got to water it every day. So in the same way that you'd water a plant every day so the plant could eventually grow, you've got to do the right habits so you can build a good mindset and have confidence and have good integrity and be more honest and more accountable and more disciplined. So it's the time, it's the hours you put in. And the more you put the time in, the more you forget about the concept of time. Time flies. Remember the saying, time flies when you're having fun. So it's the same. When you're having fun, facing your anxiety and you're goal orientated, you're driven, you're focused, the time goes like lightning. I've worked with clients and it's like they've transformed overnight. It hasn't actually been overnight. It's been like 6 weeks or 6 months or a year. They've changed the whole life. But because they've enjoyed it and I've enjoyed working with them, time goes like that. But when you've got someone who's moaning and complaining, and it's like you're there forever. So you have to make a decision that you're going to do this. And you cannot expect to go, I'm going to put 1 foot in, 1 foot out, why ain't anything happening? Because you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You've got to put both feet in. And obviously this is a process. It's not easy. I'm being honest about that. It's very, very challenging. It was challenging for me. I always say that to people. It's like people don't believe me. When you're successful and you've got a brand and you're on YouTube, sometimes people think that you're like they can't relate to you, but you have to understand I'm a human being. It wasn't easy. Still isn't easy. But I like that it's not easy because you appreciate it. And when you accept it's not easy and you've got to work hard for things, it's not really that hard then because you enjoy it and you value it when you get the result. And the process is important as well. So it takes time to be confident with women, to be able to speak to them and be yourself and be genuine and have that respect and just be able to relax. It takes practice. It takes time to get more relaxed with people. You've got to go to events. You've got to go out. It takes time to be good at speaking in front of the camera. But you've got to change the mindset and not have the original mindset of most people, which is, it's going to take too long, I don't want to do it. You never get nowhere like that. You've got to have the mindset that I've got, which is, I can't wait. I know it's going to take long, but I'm going to enjoy the journey. I don't care how long it takes because I know once I get there, I've got great memories and I love the process of it. And that's how I got into shape again. That's how I lost 20 pounds. I lost 10 kilos. In 4 months, and it took quite long, 4.5 months of training about 5 times a week, sometimes 7 times a week, sometimes 4. And now I'm continuing. I love it. I enjoy it. Some people begrudge going to the gym because of their anxiety and their relationship and their mentality towards it, their mindset. So little steps at a time. This is what I would do with any client, any shy person, whether it's talking to people, being more confident of women, getting over certain anxieties and fears, improving it in general. You just start practicing doing a little bit each day. and then you get more into it, and you put some more time in. So spend half an hour a day on working on your anxiety, and then increase it to an hour, then 2 hours, and then do 6 hours one day, do 8 hours, then have a break, then the next day. You know, you got to keep with it, you got to stick with it. You can't have that mindset that things should just happen easy. They will never happen like that for you in most cases. It won't. It's not the truth, it won't work. You've got to be committed, you've got to put the time in, you've got to enjoy it, and you've got to, you know, what you put in is what you get out. It's pretty much the consistent principle and truth for everything, but especially with mental health, confidence building, anxiety, seeing the improvement of your anxiety, exposure therapy, like I said, which is just a fancy psychological term for what I teach, which is teaching people to confront their anxiety on a practical level. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, if you want to take it to the next step, you're really committed and you want to get my mentorship, my coaching, a 6 weeks program, an online program, work with me in person, or maybe a shorter term program. I have long-term coaching and short-term, online and in person. Send me an email, face your fear. Make that first move, and then I'll get back to your email. We'll set up a Zoom call, have a conversation with you, and we can figure out what your goals are and if I can help you or not. And if you're right for my program and my program's right for you, we'll go from there. All right, I'd love to work with you. I've transformed hundreds of other people. As long as you've got a good attitude, you're a good person, good values, and you're willing to show up and put the effort in, I'm 110% committed. And we can be a winning team, all right? Speak to you soon, fearless.